Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing? Hope everybody's doing good. It is, what's today? Wednesday. All right. Today, we may not see price come back up again as well. So, let me go into that. Good morning. Who do we have? Who's in here now? We have Chris, Shadow, Rich, Greasy, Corey. Good morning, David. Benton, good morning. All right, so I'm still bearish. I'm a lot more bearish overall. We have some earnings this afternoon. NVIDIA, we have Salesforce, but NVIDIA, of course, will likely be a high impact. What's this? 31 minutes ago, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we have a double fair value gap here, right, on the daily chart. We got this fair value gap, price never reached back up. Got this one from when the market closed yesterday, never rebalanced. Now we potentially have another one if we don't rebalance. Here we have some clear sell side liquidity. It's traded pretty good to the upside, but we have some clear sell side liquidity here at previous day low, yesterday's low. We have a swing low here. All right. Now, I just want to point out the 1 hour as well, real quick. Always glance to see what's happening. So yesterday we had this displacement through this low, leaving this fair value gap. And if you look here after the London session, we reached the midpoint of it right here. All right. And then let's drop down to the 15-minute. Look what happened here. 15-minute chart, where that midpoint is, London here, we kind of left this high, came back down, came back up, and look at this right here where we swept this buy side liquidity right here and we're selling off. Because of that, I don't think we come back up here. I really don't. Then we have the new day opening gap here, which we just traded through. And then here we have some nice sell side liquidity and this big 15-minute imbalance right here, fair value gap. So I really believe we may not, if we do come back up, it might just be, oh, and then we have this 15-minute fair value gap right here that we just blew straight through. If we do come back up, maybe it's to go back into this 15-minute fair value gap, but I don't think we take this high again up here. I think that's going to be a high of the day. We'll see. Could be wrong. So in this case, I'm not looking because I don't have a clear buy side and sell side liquidity. All right. So I'm not looking for price to run up here. Now, I look for reversals. So I'm not looking for it to jump in a short and continue short. I am looking for a pullback, preferably to where? Internal range liquidity now, which is this 15-minute fair value gap. Or if we create a new one somewhere, then pull into that internal range liquidity. Because right now, I have my sell side, which is previous day low here. I have this one. This is going to be more of a minor sell side inside this 15-minute imbalance. But if you take the range from this high to this low, and you look at that entire thing, let's get my range fib. Equilibrium is right here, okay? And if we go back up in here, I mean, it could create another fair value gap, 15 minutes, something in here somewhere. And above here is the buy side at the moment. And below here is the sell side, like the true, not any minor. And then what you have in between there is internal range liquidity. So if you don't have a buy side left up for external range liquidity, then you have to look for internal. You have to look for internal. So I will be looking for a pullback to some type of internal range liquidity and then short from there. I don't think we just sell off and continue down. It's possible, but I don't think we go back above this high. So I'm waiting for it to create some more internal range liquidity or pull back to an existing one, which would be this 15-minute fair value gap here. So that's kind of my analysis. Now, however, if it does just continue down, and let's say we sweep this minor, I mean, it's not really minor. It's just this is the ultimate sell side down here. But if we do sweep this here and get into this 15-minute fair value gap, and then we get a clear market structure shift and what looks like a long, that's when I could take a long back up to internal range liquidity. So I'm looking at both sides, or a first presented fair value gap, stuff like that. So there's still an opportunity to go both ways, but knowing where price should go is the most important thing. And I don't believe price should go back up above here. So price could go here unless we create something else inside here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at today. And then there is 10 a.m. news, but it is it's considered medium impact, but it's new home sales. So I'm kind of like, it's going to do something, but it's not going to prevent me from jumping in a trade. And then we have Trump speaking, and it says a tentative time. So love that. Not really. So I have Financial Juice up and running. And if you are in my Discord, I have a channel called Newsfeed that streams it feeds Financial Juice right into that in case if you don't want it on the website. Good morning, John. Good to have everybody. Yes, if you don't mind and you enjoy my stream, hit that like button. You get some more people in here. I'm fine with just you guys though. Like I don't need my channel to blow up, to be honest. I'm perfectly content with it the way it is. If it blows up, great. If not, I'm here to trade. I want to make money trading. Morning, Danny. Good morning. All right, so do we have a first presented fair value gap? We don't, but we may get one now. So here's where I'd be watching. If we can come back up, well, we do have the midnight opening price, and check out this little volume imbalance right here. See what it does here. Right there, little volume imbalance. It's pretty much going right through it, but we have a 5-minute fair value gap right here as well. I'm not going to really pay too much attention to that because we have this 15-minute fair value gap, and that's where I'm looking for price to go in here, internal range liquidity, maybe even take this little high right here, somewhere in this area, and then that's where I'd be looking for a short. Nice, Chris. Nice. I need to spam him some more. We're likely to get this as our first presented. So in that case, from up here, that's 291 down to here's 250. I doubt I'll get a trade from here with enough room between. So probably what I'll look for it to do is price come up into this imbalance and then invert this first presented fair value gap. And let me get rid of this volume imbalance since it didn't really do too much there. So right now I have a pretty clear picture of what I'm looking for. And these are the days that I like when it's pretty clear. Now, if you're bullish, this would be, potential, looking for a potential long, but I'm not bullish. My long-term bias right now is not bullish. My trade at the moment is not bullish. However, you could, like this very well could be a bullish order block here. This could be a Judas swing. So there's many different ways and many different models to trade, right? So like when I say you could do this or could do that, that's just me knowing like other things that ICT does, but I don't trade that way. So that's why I don't do it. I just point things out because, what works for me or what I see the best may not be the best thing for you. You might see something else better. So, no wrong or right way. The main thing is the framework, knowing the framework, knowing the PD arrays, knowing how the market operates. So, and of course, being patient. Yeah, so while we sit here, now hold on. Real quick though. I'm gonna watch just in case if price can't make it up here. Remember this whole big pink shaded area? That's a 1 hour fair value gap. And price just went into it. There's a 1 minute imbalance right here. We have a 5 minute imbalance right here. Okay. So I will watch in case we can't make it up higher. And that might be okay. Because if we do show where we come down and invert this first presented fair value gap and show a willingness to go lower, then I may be okay with that. I prefer it to reach up into here, but sometimes when things become obvious, you have to go with it. But yeah, I had a little conversation with David yesterday there about being calm, being accepting of your trade, and being okay with missing stuff when you're waiting for what you are waiting for what you really want, right? And it's tough. Like, it takes a long time to overcome that, especially because, like I said, like I'm saying, oh, this could happen or that could happen, and then it happens. Like, that happens often because I know how the market should operate. And then I won't take the trade, right? So it's easy to be like, man, if I would have taken that, well, hold on. Let me pause that for a second here, because as you can see, we did reach up here and we are looking like we may be displacing down. So if we do get this fair value gap right here, this potentially could be a short for me. It may be a little early, but the framework is there, and my read, it may be there. So I got to see if we take these lows and leave this fair value gap, I may just have to take this short and take it down the sell side here. We got to be careful though. I do want it to take these lows before I hop in. So like the current bar now or the next bar, before it returns to this potential fair value gap right here, I want it to take the lows. Because you see, this is the new day opening gap here. So let's see, we got 3, 2, 1. Got this little fair value gap right here. I'm not shorting it because, like I said, I want it to take these lows first, because it placed another fair value gap inside the first presented, so it could invert, revert, reclaim all this area, and it could just take off too. But for me, I have to have it clear these lows first. Excuse me, I got a little congestion. Let's see. Let's take a quick look at ES. I have a feeling. Okay, no. I was going to see if we had a little SMT going on, but no, we don't. And, that's a sign too of, like I said, this would be a little early. It's 9:44, 9:45. I like my trade to be around 9:50 to 10 or later. So it's a little early. And that goes to show it returned up into this fair value gap, but it hasn't taken these lows. So I'm not going to enter it. Not going to enter it. And I would still prefer if we invert this and head up to this 15-minute fair value gap. That would be the best. But if we go ahead and displace through these lows, leaving another fair value gap, that could be an entry as well. It's a lot of this like little news hits that keep coming out. Like, it's not even news. It's just so-and-so said this, so-and-so said that. Yeah. So it's just patience. All right. Maybe I can continue on that conversation a little bit. So, and most of you know I was trading Apex Sniper System before too, right? And if you know anything about the Apex Sniper System, there's a ton of different setups. So many different setups. And it kind of stemmed back to that. I would focus on a couple and try to master them. And then I'd see other setups and they would win. And then I would take my setup and it would lose. I'm like, dang, if I only took that other setup, I would have won. Or, whatever. You start getting in your head. So then the first time I ever got an account funded in like 2020, I didn't do anything with it. I blew it. But that was the first time. It was like 2020 or 2021. It was with a different prop company before Apex Trader Funding. And I said, you know what? I'm going to stick to this one setup. And I was on the verge of quitting trading. And I said, I'm going to stick to this one setup, win or loss. I know when I'm going to stop. I know when I'm going to lose. And I'm going to see if it'll work. If it doesn't, if I blow this last eval, I'm done. I'm quitting. Guess what happened? I got it funded. Because I stuck to that one setup. And then that really opened my eyes a little bit. Because I'd see other setups running. And it is very easy. So that circles back around to our conversation. With ICT concepts, there's many different ways to trade it, right? And unless and it's kind of piggybacks on yesterday during the stream, unless you've back tested and forward tested enough, 30 trades or more, enough to have data to know what those numbers are for you. Because I can sit here and say, oh, this is an entry, blah, blah, blah. Here's the data. But you might not always see it the same as me. And however you're trading, I might not see it the same as you every time. So our numbers are not always going to be exactly the same. So you got to do it for yourself. And once you have that data, then you can confidently use the probabilities and put them on your side. And it takes it away. It takes that emotion away, because what happens also is it's almost like strategy hopping, basically, right? If you don't stick to one thing, the probabilities will never work in your favor, ever. So once you change it, the probabilities change. And that's when the emotions play in. And like I was saying, when I was trading with Apex, if I saw a trade run away, hey, whatever. I'm not trading that. I got to let it go. Because if I take that trade, win or loss, it's going to mess up my numbers. So I got so very data driven. And that's why I use that spreadsheet. That's why I look at it every single day, every weekend. You have to be data driven. We're humans. You can never fully take the emotions out, but that's the closest you'll ever come to taking your emotions out, is if you look at the data daily. Look at the data daily. That's all I got to say. You have to do that. So I know I'm going off on a little bit of a rant here, but I'm really just waiting for price to come up to this 15-minute gap. And David actually asked me if I can elaborate on it a little bit this morning on that whole thing. I said, well, the danger of that is I could talk about that forever. So I don't want to stream the entire time of me just rambling. After trading many different systems for years, I have the same problem. This is always something that looks like an opportunity, working hard. Yep. And it is, I'm telling you. And the other thing, like I said, if you stick to one strategy, then you can get true data results. Now, if you do two things, that's fine too, but you do have to track both data points separately. Okay, this setup, this loss today, here, blah, blah, blah. Here's the win, how much I risked, how much the reward. And then this setup. So you do have to keep two separate data points. It's fine if you want to do that. It's just, for me, I like to focus on one thing. We're almost there. It's that 15-minute fair value gap. I really want to see it get into it first. It's 9:50 now. So this is actually working out great because back here, and you can see this is why I did not take this short here, even though it inverted the first presented fair value gap, came back in, left a new one. It was early. Remember, time, if you're trading ICT concepts, time and price, extremely important. It was early, and we didn't take these lows here. We didn't take the lows first. And we have this internal range liquidity. I need it to pull back to some form of higher time frame internal range liquidity. Because I only trade the morning session, I rely so much on the 15-minute chart for my bias, for my trading bias. So much. It's not quite an order block, but we do, and there's even an inversion here if you look at it. Right there, there's a little inversion. A little inversion, 15-minute fair value gap. I mean, I could completely see it pulling up. There's an inversion right here as well, but I could see it. I really would love it to pull up into this internal range liquidity. And actually, I'm going to get rid of this pink because it's taking up space, and I know London high is basically the midpoint of it. So I'll just kind of keep that in mind. Here we go. Let's see. Get up there. And then from here is where I'd be looking for another market structure shift, inversion, something to tell me we're going to go ahead and go short. Now I'm going to get rid of this small one. There we go. We're digging up in here. I really don't want to see it come back up any higher than this because that would kind of throw my framework off a little bit and my bias, but my trade bias anyways. But there is a 15-minute fair value gap a little bit higher. And then we had this opening range gap from yesterday we didn't fill, which actually I forgot to check that this morning if we had one, which we did not. Where's the open? We had a little bitty one. Which we did trade through already. It's just under the new day opening gap. So I'll just kind of keep that in mind. I don't need to mark it. Just right under here. All right. Completely rebalanced this 15-minute fair value gap. Let's see if we can head down now. Gonna get rid of this 5-minute fair value gap because if I'm looking for an entry, I kind of want it to be below all this anyways. And remember, we have nice room to get down here if we do go down. There's plenty of room to get a good setup, good trade, good profit. It's what I'm looking for. And keep in mind, we do have that 10 a.m. news. Man, even though I'm not expecting that's going to make the market just react crazy, but still, there's going to be a little pump of volatility that you just have to be aware of. So, and because of all that I said earlier, all that rambling, ranting, that's what allows me to be patient, calm, and cool and collected because I know I'm never concerned about one trade. I'm just not. If I take a trade and it loses, I don't care. If I take a trade and it wins, I really don't care, to be honest. Like, I don't even really look at my P&L, my total P&L, until the end of the week. I'll just kind of, obviously I kind of have to see it whenever I do my spreadsheet, but I really don't pay attention. I just do the copy paste and I'm done. So, and that's why. So not falling in love with each trade, not getting wrapped up in each trade allows you to sit back and relax. Hey, Richard. Good morning. Hey, actually, it has kind of crossed over into my daily life too, being that way. Like, I've found myself a lot more of a patient and calm person. Because I've always naturally been, like I've said, I've been an athlete most of my life, played basketball, super competitive. So it's like, you tell me I can't do something, oh, I'll show you I can do it. That kind of mentality. And it's like, you know, uh, unless I 100% know I'm wrong, I'll pretty much battle debate till the end, which is not a great trait, especially when you're married. Oh, man. But yeah, I mean, and even like I've been into, obviously I've wanted like nice things in life, like material things and all that stuff. Even that, I'm kind of like, it's nice. I care so much more about the freedom, the time freedom, especially if you have kids and a family and all that, how valuable that is and how fast time goes by. So like, if you can be financially free and have control of your time, I mean, in my opinion, what more do you want? What more do you want out of life? All right, let's see if we can get that displacement down, get a move down. Let's go. Looking for it to go down. Let me see something here. Check this out here. I want to take a quick peek here at this up candle. Let's look at the body. Let's look at the midpoint right there. Right there, how it tapped the middle of this body, the last up candle, and it's dropping. See if that stays that way. Maybe getting a fair value gap right here, but that's still not one I would enter. So we don't have any market structure shift. We don't have any inversions. It would be good, but I would look for that to be more of a breakaway gap and not return back in it. That's what I really would like. If we get this fair value gap, I don't want price to come back into it. I just really need to see some displacement down. We are in that 5-minute inversion now. So this is a key area. It's also why I wouldn't want to go short yet. Because see, look, let's throw in this 5-minute inversion right here. I don't want to see this act as an inversion and hold price up and continue up. I don't want to see that. But it could, obviously. But I'd prefer that not to happen. I need to see displacement through it. So I'm going to mark this. I'm going to leave it on the chart so I can monitor it and go back to my 1 minute right here. That's the London low. We haven't swept the London high after the open, but I don't see us really needing to. Like I said, that's that 1 hour consequent encroachment of that fair value gap on the 1 hour. I really didn't want to see it return inside this fair value gap. So we'll see what happens here. It's being a little pesky, but we have that news in 1 minute and it is medium impact. So that could be why price is doing what it's doing. It could be getting ready to clear out some buy stops right up here and then drop after the news in less than a minute. So I'd like to see this 1 minute fair value gap get reclaimed. Hey, that one, David, that's another thing. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't get caught up in Twitter and all X or whatever and all that and seeing people posting P&Ls. That's why I hate posting P&Ls. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And I don't hardly ever post P&Ls. Like, sure, here on the stream while I'm in a trade or whatever, I'll show that. But I hate posting P&Ls because that's just one day or like you get a small picture. You don't know the total. Like, you don't know everything. And people are just posting P&Ls to get more following, likes, clicks, and all that stuff. And I'm telling you, I hate that so much because it gives a false perspective and it leads other people onto believing and actually feeling down on themselves a lot of times Here we go. Whenever they see that and then they have a bad day or they're having struggling or they can't get on a win streak and they start saying, "Oh, these people are doing so good all the time, but look at me." That's not the case. If you knew how many people blew accounts, all those people posted P&Ls, man, don't even worry about that. Forget everybody. Stay in your own lane and cut the noise. Yeah, see, Chris said he posts his for more followers. I hate it. That's just me. All right, home sales is out. We may go up here. So look how we just came down right here. A little quick clearing of some sell stops. We might see it pop up to clear some buy stops. And then I really want to see that displacement down. It's accumulating inside this 15-minute fair value gap. That's internal range liquidity. There we go. See that wick? Wicks do the damage. Let's see if we drop from here. You see that wick? This is what I'm talking about. That wick right here that just popped up. Cleared out. And it's so subtle and so small. It just eliminated some buy stops that's sitting right up here. All right. Let's see if it goes up higher. I really don't want it to. I really hope it doesn't because then it'll line up with everything, all my framework and everything. So I want to see price, the bodies continue to close in here and then displays down. News hit your stop loss at 262. Yep. You were the liquidity, my friend. I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. Clearing sell stops right here. That wick right here just cleared out some buy stops. So if it clears both sides, it's ready. The market's ready to go to displace somewhere. Yep. The bodies tell the story and the wicks do the damage. I really don't want it to go price to go up, and that would not go along with everything I'm lining up. But let me show you another scenario. Because we have these two daily fair value gaps, and we left that opening range gap here, and we have a potential third fair value gap here on the daily chart, there is a possibility that price could reach back up into one of these before going and taking out these lows. So there is that possibility. So, and that's why sticking to something, to one framework or one model is okay, is wonderful for me, because if I'm wrong and price does go up, guess what happens to me? Nothing, because I won't take a trade. So if it does go up, then that means I'm wrong and price went to this internal range liquidity here. And then comes up and continues up to here. That's if I'm wrong. And it's okay if I'm wrong. Because if I'm wrong, I'm not going to take a loss. The only time I'm going to take a loss is if it does what I want it to do. Like if it presents itself and then I take the short, and then it just like it's a fake out or something happens and then it just goes up. That's the only way I'm taking a loss today. But if it does present itself, and that's a beautiful thing. Like if it does present itself, then it's likely to work. And if it doesn't present itself, then there's just no trade. Like, and that's also how you stay calm, cool, and collected. You have 10 minutes. And this fair value gap will get inverted. If we invert this fair value gap on the 15-minute chart, then yeah, we may head up even higher. So we'll see. I was definitely not a doctor. What I did before trading is I was in finance, like personal finance for a long time. And then I was in real estate as well, like real estate investing for finance for almost 15 years, real estate for a little over 10 years. So I've always been involved with numbers. I could be a doctor now, then definitely not a doctor. Couldn't be a doctor. I could not be a doctor. I'll pass out. I'd pass out. Or actually, it's not even like the blood and stuff. It'd be the thing. I get grossed out easy. So if I see like mucus and like snot, like anything that's like kind of like mucusy, that's it. Game over. I'm like gonna throw up on the patient. Nice, Chris. Um, although I would say if I had a second profession or missed a calling of something, it would have been a lawyer, I think. And just because the only reason why I say that is because of my inquisition, my inquiring mind of and always digging and looking for details and like things like that. Like looking at the angles of how to win a case or something. A football coach. So I'm actually my son's basketball coach. I love coaching. I would love, that's a good one. I would love to be a coach. Like a college coach or something. I wouldn't like to be a professional coach because those guys, like, I don't know. I feel like coaching, teaching comes easy. So I have my mom to blame for that. It didn't always come easy because I've always been a very impatient person. But helping my mom is very like to the T and needs things explained very, very thoroughly. My mom's from Brazil, so also sometimes like there's words I know I can't, I have to make sure not use and things like that. And she's taught me a lot of patience. I still struggle sometimes, but she's taught me a lot of patience in teaching. So I think that's why when I explain or talk with things, I know I need to break it down in certain ways. So thanks to my mom. She's watching. Good morning, Max. Good to see you. All right, so we did pop back down here again into this inversion. Look what it's being stubborn. It's being stubborn. It looked like it may do something, but it's being stubborn. What it could be looking like at the moment is some high resistance liquidity conditions. So we have to wait. There's no 15-minute fair value gap. There's no 5-minute fair value gap. That's potentially high resistance liquidity conditions. Now, if we close below this blue up bar here, that may be a bearish order block. Potentially, if we close, and you see how it's like keeps reclaiming and inverting this fair value gap and all these. I'm gonna remove it because I don't really care about that one anymore. But but yeah, let's see here. Let's zoom out a little bit, make sure. Yeah, see, I mean, look at that. It's really showing some high resistance liquidity conditions at the moment. Proud mama. Yeah. All right, so I think technically we inverted this 15-minute fair value gap. Let's see. Where's the high? No, not quite. It's just my inversion here. I'm going to get rid of this inversion because it's covering. There we go. Yeah, I don't know now. It's pretty high resistance at the moment. It's not quite doing what I wanted it to do. So, we'll wait and see what happens, but Chris and I should do a joint stream. That'd be cool. We'd have to get a little alien filter for him. I know he loves his alien. I wonder if there's a way we could stream to both channels, because I know your channel has been kind of dormant. That'd be cool to be able to stream to 2 channels. All right, 10:10, a little after 10:10. Look at this. Look at this. I guarantee you there's people right now being chopped to pieces. And I hope none of you are one of them. But I guarantee you people are being chopped up right now. Let me get rid of this. Yeah, I was thinking about that, Richard. Maybe OBS. I have OBS. I wonder if it's like mine streams to my channel, his, or, streams to his channel. And then we can have like some kind of split screen stream, Zoom. I have no idea. I have no clue. Just holding my long patiently, but this yeah. I don't think we go, I mean, it could go long, but I'm still waiting for my short. High resistance at the moment. If it does not go short, I'm not going to get a trade. That's going to be 3 days. That'll be no trades this week. But like I said, like I showed yesterday, my February is beautiful. Like, I'm cool with it. If I end, we have 2 more days, right? 2 more days of the month, 2 more days this week. If I don't get any more trades, I'm fine. That would be a nice green month. I do want to watch, now that we're taking this high, let's see if we do sweep this London high, because we haven't done that since the open. So I would be looking for a potential breaker here. A bearish breaker, because we have this high. We have this high, low, higher high. And if we displace down, these 3 black down bars would be a breaker right here. Let me change the color of this thing, because what color stands out? I guess that stands out. So then if it returns, if it displaces down and leaves a gap somewhere in this down move, that would be a beautiful short. Doesn't mean it'll happen, but like I said, it's something I'm just always watching forward. Always watching forward. Now, because it's swept this high, I would like to see it leave a fair value gap and immediately invert it. However, it doesn't have to, and if it closes below this blue one now, that would be a bearish order block right here. I don't like that we're above this 15-minute fair value gap, though. And there's a minute and a half before it gets inverted. Don't love that, so we'll see. Restream can do multiple streams. Cool. I'll check that out. And keep in mind, we have those NVIDIA calls this afternoon, like at the close or right after the close, somewhere in there. So when you have certain things, it can also make price not quite do exactly what it should be doing every day. So like I said, it could be that we ran into this new day opening gap into this lower internal range liquidity right here. And we could look to fill the opening range gap here from yesterday and go into that daily fair value gap. That's a possibility. It's not something I'll trade, but it's a possibility. It's the 1 hour chart I'm just taking a peek at because we're still in that 1 hour fair value gap here. Still hovering around that midpoint, consequent encroachment. Right there. That's also another reason why I would not go long. It could come all the way up and rebalance it, but to me, that's just low probability. You see how this 5-minute inversion here, I mean, it really held up as a nice inversion. So if you were bullish, that would have been a great area right here to look for longs, but you'd had to sit through all that mess. That is not something that I would like. So you see, now it's pretty much doing what I did not want it to do. So for that reason, I'm probably not going to get a trade. Unless if it, hits this 15-minute fair value gap and just really shows me displacement down. But let's see. And there's still no 15-minute fair value gap or a 5-minute. So that's not any type of conditions I want to be trading in. We might be getting a 5-minute one here in a couple minutes, but I don't like these. I don't like the price action and the conditions here. Oh man, hey, good morning, Steve. Bad storms, huh? Ooh. Man. We're out at a basketball game last night. Went to the Houston Rockets basketball game. They played the Milwaukee Bucks. It was a good one. My son's whole team and everybody went, so that was fun. But made me tired. Got home late. Oh man, your store has no power and internet. Oh. In this 15-minute fair value gap, there's also an inversion right there. Yeah, at this point, if this keeps pushing up, it's going to likely go all the way up through yesterday's high. Some nice buy side liquidity up there. That 15-minute fair value gap that it never really pulled into yesterday, where I was looking for price to go to, but then we just sold off. So yeah, we're probably at this point, I would think we're going to get up there at some point today. Yeah, it likely will. I mean, we're so close to it where I think it probably will close that opening range gap and trade up through previous day high. And then this is where you have that daily fair value gap. Because one thing, right? Here, this is one thing you do know. When you have a fair value gap on the daily chart, we know it's going to pull back into it at some point. When? That's the question. Until we have a day, so like all these days, I have to be bearish until we have a day where we close up. And if we haven't closed up, or like let's say we close up today, right? But we don't reach into that daily fair value gap, then tomorrow I'm going to be more bullish so we can go up into it. So that's kind of how I look at the higher time frame and where price should be going. So I'm bearish until we get a day where we close up. And then when we close up, then I'll be looking for price to pull up into that daily fair value gap. And then once it does, and especially once it hits the mid level of it, then I'll go back to looking for it to take the lows, sell side liquidity. It's kind of how I look at that. So today we very well see you have the open low, and then we may have a high and a close. Will it reach up there? We'll see by the end of the day. But at this point, my bias has shifted to where I don't think we're going to run down now. I think we're probably going to, I don't know how high we'll get to, but will we make it up there? We're not too far away, but we'll see. We'll see. So if we did get a short setup, the only thing I'd be looking for like we have this little potential 15-minute fair value gap right here. That'd be the first fair value gap on the 15-minute. And that also would be a 5-minute. If I go to the 5-minute here, it'd be a 5-minute one right there, and then maybe a 5-minute one here. So at some point, it may pull back to internal range liquidity, but I don't think it's going to run. That was the low of the day, I believe. Right down here. Low of the day. So there's still 7 minutes, so I'm not going to put that on there. But for me, like, yeah, I'm not going to get a trade today. So this is definitely an inversion here. But yeah, at this point, we've gone high enough. We're too close to not at least hit the low of the opening range gap there. So you got to be careful. If you get a setup short, you got to have a very specific target of where it's just going to pull back to before continuing up, in my opinion, I believe. So like here, we may be inverting this. May get a little inversion. You see how we're coming down pretty hard? I think this inversion right here, this 15-minute inversion, stops it. I think this is where price pulls back to if it does, and that's it. I don't think it'll go much lower than that. However, we are coming back inside the London range. So we got this little fair value gap here. Inversion, brand new one. Technically have a little market structure shift with this swing, but that's not If you wanted a low risk, well, it's not really that low risk. A short from here, just right down to the 15-minute fair value gap, it's a possibility. I guess that's a good 50 points. You have a high, low, higher, high, lower, low. So this could be a breaker here as well, a bearish breaker. It's not extremely clean, but and then this up closed candle here, because it took this high and dropped and displaced, this could be an order block. And I say could because it's, depending on price here. Because obviously if price comes up through all that, then it's all irrelevant. So this is something where I would watch, and I maybe would consider shorting here if we built up some nice resistance inside this 15-minute fair value gap, order block, all this inversion, new fair value gap. Maybe if we built up very obvious clean resistance, maybe, and just take it right down to here, which is a nice 50 points, but yeah, that 60-minute, that 1 hour fair value gap right here around this London high was pretty much the midpoint of it. So we're still there. But at this point, like I said, I don't think we run all the way down. Anything's possible, but I wouldn't anticipate that. So I would just look for a low-hanging fruit first stop, basically, if I have to see it build support here. Because it very well could pull back. So like that's the thing that's the way I like to trade. Like I like to, if you know where price is going or likely to be going, then you could take a ride there, or you can take pullbacks before it gets there if it presents itself. But it might not. So it rebalanced that potential 15-minute fair value gap, completely rebalanced. And we are back in that London range. I mean, we'll see what it does right here at this inversion. It might not be over here. Might not be over. May have just did a higher stop run than what I would have liked. Still, I'm still not very of the mindset that we're going to continue down yet. Especially with this inversion of the 15-minute. If it shows to hold support right here around this midpoint, yeah, definitely would not be interested. However, if it holds support and we get another shift back long, that could be a long through the highs. So got to wait and see. This is a key area right here, right now. And we're coming up on 10:30. So getting close to me, jumping off for the day, tapping out. Okay, well, it's not really showing a willingness to support price there at all. I might short this fair value gap, which I'm going to stop right up above here. Right above these swing highs here. We'll see. I'm not going to enter right away. I want to see if we have some resistance inside this 1 minute. Because we're looking like we're trying to displace on the 5-minute, but it's also trying to rebalance. So we'll see. I'll get ready just in case if I short this, but I'm waiting to see if we hold some resistance here, or if that was simply just a pullback. All right, hitting the midpoint of it. Because I don't want it to come all the way back up to those levels I marked up there. So I want to wait and see if it has resistance here first. Just trying to rebalance that 5-minute potential fair value gap. And it rebalanced that potential 5-minute fair value gap. So I don't think I'm going to short this. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see where this closes. If it closes in the lower half of this 1 minute, I'll probably short. And let's see what happens on this next candle right here. If we pop up, then I'm waiting. Yeah. And I want to see if we trade above this up candle. And if we do, then if we hold some resistance here. But you got to watch the bodies and see if they continue to close below the midpoint of this 1 minute. Because it never touched this area up here. See, we technically reclaimed this 15-minute fair value inversion, but it's trading back up. So you got to be very cautious right now. It's not been able to trade above the opening of this up candle. Price, we do have reason it could trade higher back up to here. But let's see. If we close back below the midpoint of this 1 minute fair value gap, I may short if price closes below the midpoint of it here. And then at that point, I'll just look to take it to back to the first presented fair value gap under these lows. I don't think that's going to happen though, but I'm just anticipating. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to wait. I want to see it close below the midline of it. See what this candle does here. It should not take the swing high now if it's going to go lower. If it takes the swing high, then it's likely to trade back up to this. Yeah. I'm going short. And I'm just going to put my stop right above this swing high here.
Order submitted.
And I'm going to target first presented fair value gap. This one may or may not work. I don't like the high resistance liquidity conditions, but and then we see if we do take this low, then I'll move to break even and cover. It's very high resistance. I don't love that. And actually, I could even tighten it more. Actually, I'm going to tighten it above this high because it should not take this high if it's going to go. That way I have a pretty low risk here. Yeah, see? Shouldn't take this swing high if it's going to go. So if it does take it, then I just want out. Yeah. It's going to come back up into here.
Order canceled.
Uh-oh. Got a little notification pop up here. What is that? Am I flat? Yeah, I'm flat. Okay. All right. So now we tapped that. It's probably going to go up there. Well, it may stop here. I don't know. But the way I'm reading, it shouldn't take this swing here if it was going to go. I like that it closed back below, but yeah, that one wasn't. Let's see. I risked 11, 21, 31. Less than 20 points. Let's see. Okay, yeah. I was just making sure my contract sizing was right. Yeah, that was a bit of a risky one. I probably shouldn't have. This is the area where I think it'll go up to, but it was a small risk. I like that we closed back below here. Thought we'd run back down, maybe, but yeah, this is likely now. I don't think even this holds here, because now I believe we're gonna go ahead and just continue up. Maybe. I mean, it has to go through this, and really a sign too that I probably should have stayed out is here when we immediately rebalanced the potential fair value gap and came, because see, we have this inversion right here as well that I was watching, and that's why I wanted to see it close back below this 1 minute. It's just high resistance liquidity conditions right now. So see here, and if I go back, that's not a one. If I go back here, see my entry sold at 311.25, which was right here. And that's what, look, here we go. That's what it wanted, was that area right there. So I was looking at this inversion right along the middle of this. And as soon as we close back in this lower half, now if I would have taken my normal risk, 311, my normal risk would have been at this high, but that's way too big of a stop. So like I can't go that high. So I could have put it right here at this high, but like I said, that's why I was looking at this swing. If we're going to go, we shouldn't take this swing. But since we took this swing, likely to trade up here. And now we'll see if this acts as an inversion to go up, or if it can come back through. Either way, that was my trade. So it doesn't matter whatever happens at this point for me. But yeah, and that's how you know too. High resistance liquidity conditions. No 15-minute fair value gaps. You have this one at 8:45, none. So probably shouldn't have taken that trade. I liked that we wicked all the way up there and came back into the London range. I took the risk, all good. But see, that's why you you can't get caught up on one trade because you have your money management. 60 if 55 to 60% of my trades win, 40 to 45% are going to lose. Plain and simple, and that accounts for these type of trades. So now I just, take a screenshot, save it, and analyze it. So, yep, that's a wrap for me. Yeah, see, look, it's probably going to go back up through, but man, these high resistance liquidity days are tough. What do we have for Thursday and Friday news-wise? Okay, tomorrow should be pretty good. GDP, unemployment claims. We have G20 meetings all day, 10 a.m. news. Then Friday, PC, core PC. So Chicago PMI, 945. I don't like 945 news. All right, y'all. That's a wrap for me. I'm going to hop off. Hey, it's a loser. It's fine. So appreciate y'all being here. I will see y'all tomorrow. And of course, if you're going to trade the rest of the day, be very careful because it is high resistance liquidity conditions. So if you're going to trade, as always, trade well. I'll see y'all next time. Tomorrow. See y'all tomorrow.